did it! So Smoking finally caved and realized, bro, free-to-play players will just die. After about 20 new ML5s later, they finally thought they should give everyone a free ML5. Honestly, it's smart. Nobody's gonna get instantly get legend just because of one extra ML5. Nobody's gonna get mad if their enemy has more ML5, because to be very honest, everyone seems to have every character anyway. Everyone will just be happier because they get free stuff. And in today's video, I'll be going through my recommendations of ML5s you should get for the new ML5 event. Disclaimer, this video will focus more on PvP since ML heroes are pretty much made to murder people instead of bots. I'll be separating my video into two parts. The first part, if you want to be a cleaver or aggro. The second part, everyone else. Let's start with the cleaver units. If you're a cleaver like me in RTA and you want to do to your enemies what America did to Hiroshima, these are the units you can consider. From tier S, rated in first, we have Apocalypse Ravi. If you haven't played for long, you know Ravi is not a cleaver, but her kill allows her to survive everything, so even more so after Hwayoung got nerfed. If you're a cleaver and you don't have Ravi, the problem is you might just die to maybe 2 characters after killing the other 2. This is where Ravi, which is unkillable in 1 hit, while being able to revive S3, comes in clutch. She's known as the anchor, strong enough to pull Titanic down without the iceberg. A lot of cleavers pick her in RTA as the first pick, just so their cleave units can still die and have a shot at winning after being revived. Honestly, she's just too good in any situation anyway. So yeah, pick her. She cute. Second in S tier, we have ML Lilius. ML Lilius fits into Cleaver's first pick because she has high base speed, first of all, while being able to provide vigor buff, which is cracked, while being able to control the enemy for 1 turn. All of that just by taking the first turn. Some cleavers or aggro players like to first pick her because if the enemy instantly goes anti-cleave, you can still pivot into playing standard bruiser draft with Lilius as the buffer. Her high speed also means she's relatively easy to build, so if you're an aspiring speedy player without a lot of openers, you can consider ML Lilius. An easy pairing for a cleave with ML Lilius would be ML Lilius with Ida or ML Lilius with Stede for an aggressive draft. Third in tier S, Flitica. Flitica is in third and not higher mainly because her base speed isn't too fast. It's pretty hard to build her, to be honest, unique crit as well. It's extremely hard to play her as an opener without a speed imprint, but if you draft a certain way where, say, you spam Sid like I do, she's an opener that provides strip, CR push, and more importantly, unlimited protection, just like Durex. A reset and skill now means all you have to do is kill like 2 or 3 units and the rest can only take off your skill though. So very convenient, and I personally draft her a lot, and a simple pairing would be Flitica and Commander Pal for instant double crit new. Very good for like a cleaver. Then we have 4th in tier S, Stene. Stene is great for mainly aggressive players. Her damage is very respectable and can usually burst down like a rat. Of course, Arab is still god, nobody can kill her, but otherwise aggressive players are seen to draft Stene when the enemy goes, you know, bruiser units like Shu. A Sober with a tap buff usually kills a Shu if you crit and if she's well built. She performs wonderfully with Pensa, which is what I use as well. Next, we move to the A tier for cleavers or aggressive players. A D stuff. Top of the pack, I'd say is DJ Bazaar. He has huge S3 push with S2 helping debuff enemies or just straight up one shot like a payload for barrier. You can definitely use him as a pseudo opener if you have like a full guided light stealth team. And secondly, we have Top of the Luluka. After her buff, she should do better as a speed DPS or for some even as an opener. A book holder is also always welcome for cleave and aggro players as well. And honestly, one of the best things that she holds is the fact that she can buff stealth. That is very important. And next up, we got ML Charles, which is good for the buffs and CR push he brings. But the only downside he has is his low base speed. But you can think of picking him against a full, say, tank team and potentially burst them down with ML Charles' S1 after he takes the first turn. I wouldn't race with it though, it's probably not gonna end well. Now we have the B tier. These two. Operator Secret is niche. You can only pick her if you know the enemy has barrier units. And usually she gets banned off anyway if they pick barrier units. But there are some cases you want to pick her for the force ban. And then we have Straze. You can nuke a unit, but someone like Commander Pal is just so much more versatile. But hey, he gets the job done though. So if you build him right, if you pick him in the right situation, he'll do fine. And that's about it really. The rest of the characters pretty much doesn't bring too much to the table as aggressive or cleave units. So they have all the above. I personally think you're fine in terms of ML5 aggressive or cleave units. Again, it's personal opinion, feel free to disagree, but please don't threaten to murder my bloodline. It's happened before. That's the first part. Now we move to the second part where we talk about standard playstyle, which is probably what most people play, and honestly, is less hard to do than forcing yourself to cleave. Let's start with the top, ML Lilius. Her vigor buff and dual attack works wonders when you want to burst down tanky units. A lot of standard players love starting to draft with her as a first pick because she's just so bendable, you know what I mean? She can take any positions. Second in tier S, Ravi. You can't really go wrong with her. She's hard to kill, she hits hard, literally the complete package. She can do everything. Standard players would pick stuff like, you know, Lilius with Ravi and find it work pretty decently. Third in tier S, we got Hand Guy. you just can't debuff the guy. You pretty much don't care and will cleanse him off while instantly giving his team steroids. His S2 strip and barrier gets so much value in a fight where you have to heavily nerf an enemy's damage or just outright kill it. Even if he isn't against debuffers, his buffs alone are really good for a team to start bursting out high damage. 4th in tier S, Stene. Honestly, you can't spell Stene without the S tier. She should have been your choice for Moonlight Blessing anyway if you wanted to be involved in PvP. But if you don't have her yet, she is a unit that can single-handedly demolish the whole enemy team, even if they have bruisers, if she isn't dealt with by AoE damage, that is. There's also a very simple way that I will tell any newer player that wants to like try PvP or say, you know, more specifically RTA. You can just try Aeron's, which is a free character, with Stene, which you can probably get from Moonlight Blessing or this event. This pairing is pretty darn great. We got dual attack from Ross into Stene, which hurts a lot. So yeah, if you want to try in PvP, you have no clue what to do, go Stene. If you're like a standard player without Stene, go Stene, I suppose, if you can think about it. Those are probably my top choices that are generally good units for anyone playing standard, or honestly just generally. For A tier options, we got these. Topping the A tier FCC, which is a good tank with a lot of control and protection, but with units like DJB Opsig and soon to come Arunka, barrier might just work against you at times. Also, SC Arrow does pretty arrow well at the tank spot anyway. Oh, I'm sorry guys. Next, Archdemon Mercedes. She is brain dead. I mean, she's like the zombie character anyway. If you're lucky enough and don't draft her too poorly, she can pretty much just burst down the enemy team alone. Sealing passive and constant strip of debuffs are really hard to deal with, and not to mention her S3 with Death Break and Burn and just extra turn everything. Everything about her is stupid. Nobody would see her and feel happy except if she's on your side, and yeah, really, it's just a really boringly good unit, but hey, wanna win then. Good think about her. Next up, DJ Bazaar. He has high value even as a standard unit because he can, well, do a lot of different things, to be honest. The moment the enemy pick a barrier unit, he will instantly be a nuisance. Even if they don't, being able to push up everyone with immunity while being able to heal is never bad. The stun he has on S1 is also clutch at times. Moving on, Ryland. After his buff is actually pretty scary. Usually people just ignore him so he does not S3 that much when his focus is full, but now he can proc him whenever he gets full focus. If you have a maxed out double-edged crescent, he'll be a beast. But of course, I don't rank him too high because there's always the chance of him dying in one turn after planting his face straight, and any form of damaging skills from the enemy happens to be way too much. We also have Lionheart Serbia here. She can always be annoying if the enemy has counter stuff going on, so pick her correctly, she can end the fight with like 5 S3s within 6 turns. However, if the enemy don't do like counter or extra attack stuff, she might just, you know, be useless. And then we got Belle in here as well. Her only downside is that she can be very much countered by stuff like Rowano or Lionheart Serbia, but whenever you got her in the field, she gets rid of any souls, which simply already is valuable for you. And she's also one of the most popular ways to deal with Stena users. So yeah, there's some value on her. And finally, we got ML Charlotte. Honestly, if anyone can potentially one-tap a Ravi, this kid. She's good against dark units, which there are a few that are common in RTA, so she can definitely be used as a counter if you do struggle against a specific dark character. Next up, we got the niche tiers. These are the heroes that I don't think you should go for unless you already have everything higher up the list. They all share a common trait of being average, or they have to meet a certain condition to be used. But they're still viable options though, and can work if the conditions are met. For example, if the enemy has, say, Artmirror, Violet, and Violet together, Solitar instantly shuts their focus down. But otherwise, there's not much reason for Solitar to be used. Of course, not to say she can't be used unless she's facing focus character. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just use her when you see, say, hand guy or anything. It's kind of niche, but when the niche condition is met, she's good. Same with female Celine. Only works if your enemy is dumb enough to keep hitting her, or if they pick too much dark units. I'm not saying these units are bad, it's just that they're probably generically more useful unit that you could choose, and if you have all of them, like, up top, you can try and come to the niche tier and, you know, think of whatever you want. And then we have the meh tier. These are heroes that I think simply don't bring enough to the table or are too hard to use. Most of them simply don't do enough as compared to the other stuff we have these days though. So yep, if you're trying to compete in RTA, you probably don't need these heroes. The final tier I have is actually the anti-cleave tier. I think they deserve their own tier since they're simply specialists in destroying cleavers, which are quite a popular playstyle, but otherwise you don't really pick them against, you know, in any standard situations. Top of the anti-cleave tier is ML Ball. Quite simply, the most annoying guy in the world for cleavers. His CR push into AoE control can easily stop any cleavers, so if you're struggling with cleavers, ML Ball can be a start. They usually don't pre-ban ML Ball, so they sometimes try and force themselves to deal with him or post-ban him, which there's some value there. Secondly, Dilibet. This should be a no-brainer. Usually cleavers would go quite some debuffers, say Ran or say Peyra, so you can always counter Dilibet with her CR push to cut the enemy, and she's also one of the ways you can deal with ML Lilius, which is quite popular. And yes, some people actually use Dilibet in standard draft as well, but I would say not too much. I see a lot more other stuff than Dilibet, but she can definitely be used whenever you see an ML list though. Thirdly, Belian. Cleavers usually need souls to function, and they usually don't want to get counterattacked. Belian, which is the epitome of both, means that she is always great against cleaves. Usually though, she's pretty bad. Like, she's almost always pretty bad if the enemy's cleaving anyway. But hey, they aren't, then Belian's annoying. And if you're wondering where Arbiter Mildred is, well, yeah, he's actually right here. You would think with his kid, you're supposed to cleave with him or like be aggressive with him, but no, he is unfortunately never much used pretty much these days, unless you're trying to anti-cleave. You can build him with counter set with Dream Blade or Double-Edged Crescent if you can afford it, and you can really throw cleavers off their feet, because RB with the revive and instantly taking the turn, pretty hard to deal with, especially a tanky one when they think that would kill you with, say, X skill, but you just survive and counterattack. And yeah, that's all. This video took way too long to make, and I hope it's helpful. Do share with me what you think in the comments, and yeah, that's all today. Take care.